91. Welcome back, everyone. Now for the other side to this story. On the lost jackpot, we have Paul Larson, who's with Lionel Sawyer and Collins Law Firm. He represents respondents in this case, including International Game Technology, better known as IGT, and Arizona Charlie's Hotel and Casino, and the State Gaming Control Board. Also here is Ed Rogich. He is the Vice President of Marketing for IGT. Thank you both very much for being with us this morning. I appreciate it. Can you explain, Mr. Larson, on behalf of your clients, what happened in this case?
Well, sure. Based on the testimony that was given at the hearing that the Pepitone described, you can actually believe everything they just told you as to how the machine behaved. And that is entirely consistent with the way the machine is programmed to behave when there's a malfunction. The technicians, when they examined the machine, and the machine's behavior was the candles were flashing on top, there was an error code flashing in where the meter, coin meter is, flashing 9s. The testimony is very consistent on that. And it was determined that there was an extra coin that had been paid out that was blocking the optic reader on the machine. The technicians both saw that. There were two technicians. One did die later, but there were two technicians. One was filling out the report. The other one was actually doing the test. Okay. In addition to that, there was a gaming control board agent watching it, verified by replaying the machine. And this is all controlled by microprocessor. It's not a mechanical device. So you can actually replay all of the games up to, I don't know how.
That's about a 20-game memory in the machine.
About a 20-game memory. So they went back the entire way, found no winning combination. In addition to that, this is a progressive machine. It's linked to a computer that monitors all Nevada nickels statewide. None of the monitoring computer did not detect any winning combination. Instead, it detected an extra coin paid out tilt. It detected the malfunction.
Why was there no surveillance tape available? Isn't most every inch of a casino covered by surveillance tape?
Generally, they are. There are what's called minimum internal control standards, or MICS, is what the phrase is. The MICS generally also set forth security standards and security monitoring standards. For whatever reason, the MICS were approved for Arizona Charlie's, not requiring videotape of this particular bank of machines. I would prefer that there was a videotape. That would make my job a lot easier. But all the testimony is very consistent in this particular case.
Let's turn to you now, Mr. Rogich. Can you explain, is this, well, I want to use the word common because that would stop people from using slot machines, but is this something that happens? How often?
You know, it's a device. It's a machine, and the machine can malfunction. Getting coins stuck into it, someone trying to open a door. These are different events that happen that will put it into a tilt mode. And yes, it happens. It's not an occurrence that happens a lot, but the reason, especially if you look at the course of the play, the millions of pulls on a handle of a given machine. So when they do occur, there's a great recorded history of the machine. There's a verification process that we can go back to on the machine. And ultimately, the gaming control in this case comes back to verify to make sure that we've done all of that correctly. If there's any dispute whatsoever, and then there's the courts. So they're following their pursuit of their appeal on this, and they're taking it by the right stages. Ultimately, if it's decided in their favor, we're prepared to pay the jackpot. But every indication we have was this is a malfunction, therefore it's not a paid jet.
You've already kind of touched on this, and I don't know which of you would be best to answer this, perhaps Mr. Rogich. When something like this happens, explain the investigation process that comes immediately after the floor supervisor comes over and says, no, I don't think this is a legitimate jackpot. What happens then?
The first thing was we received a signal in Reno indicating that there was an activity on the machine, and the activity was this coin stuck in the optic, extra coin paid, I believe was the exact title of what the event happened. We received that, so we dispatched a technician to verify it. Arizona Charlie's waits for us to come out. They do not open the machine until we get there. We go in to verify it. The gaming control can verify that as well. So those are the events that happen. The machine, as Mr. Pepitone indicated, went into a tilt mode. The reels never locked in permanently on the jackpot. The lights did flash. It's undetermined whether the bells went off. From every indication we have from Arizona Charlie's, the bells didn't go off. All the things he described are exactly what happens in the event of a tilt. And with this tilt and the verification by the gaming control, those are the facts of the case that will end up probably determining it at the end of the day.
Now, they say that they do have a witness, this woman from Oklahoma, Ms. Boatwright, that claims that the bells did go off.
Well, I cross-examined her at the particular hearing, and Ms. Boatwright could not even identify the machine in question. We showed her a photograph. She said, no, that's not the machine. In addition, when the Gaming Control Board agent, Marna Hale, was there, she interviewed all the witnesses in the proximity, didn't see Ms. Boatwright, in fact, didn't even recognize her at the hearing as being a person in the proximity of the machine. So for that reason, the hearing examiner chose to discount Ms. Boatwright's testimony as not being credible.
Now, aside from the lack of surveillance video, I think the other thing that the Pepitones questioned was why the machine was destroyed before the whole investigation was...
Well, ironically, our systems, we have a number of different games that are out there, Megabucks, Wheel of Fortune. Based on popularity, some of the machines pretty much were pulled off the floors because they're just not being played. Their popularity waned. Wheel of Fortune games have taken over some of the other ones. So systems are slated and go out. Fabulous 50s and others we've taken off the floor. It just so happens that this one in that time frame wasn't performing. It was one that they had slated to have removed.
There's no stipulation that if a particular machine is the subject of a case, it should not be destroyed? It seems like it should be saved so that they can use it for...
It's not required. In this case, after the verification by the Gaming Control Board, that's all the verification that we need. So there was no call to evidence to keep a machine like that in its history, especially after it had been verified visibly in a report done by the Gaming Control Board.
Okay. What? Oh, go ahead.
And while this was pending, there was no request by the Pepitones or their attorney to preserve the machine.
Okay.
And the machine can't be removed or destroyed without the permission of the Gaming Control Board. So if that request had been in place, the machine would have been set aside in all likelihood.
We had mentioned earlier that this is not an isolated case, that this happens from time to time because we're talking about machines. Have you ever come across anything like this before in your practice?
An extra coin paid out tilt? Yes. And generally people who are not familiar with the behavior of machines when they go into a malfunction mode perceive that there's something amiss with the machine and recognize the malfunction, or they perceive that they may have won and can't understand why the machine reels a lock and then they're rolling backwards for the jerky fashion, which is the behavior that was
You know, through the years, IGT's paid out over $1.3 billion in these primary jackpots. We're in the business to pay out jackpots. There's no financial advantage to us or Arizona Charlies by not paying out the jackpot. The reason that we have a system in place to do the verification, to record the history, is that we make sure that there's a valid win. We have a very strict verification process. It's been upheld and it's proved either there is a jackpot or there isn't a jackpot. In every case that's come like this and gone to appeal. So at the end of the day, we stand behind the validity of the system. We think it's a very good system. The Gaming Control Board can check it. They can check the chips. They do occasional checks where they'll go to casinos unannounced to check to make sure that everything's valid on the machine. So we think we have a very foolproof system, and it's stood the test of time as far as these cases and these appeals have done. And if not, again, we're prepared to pay the jackpot.
We want to remind everybody that our phone lines are open, 735-Day1, 725-3291, and we're going to go to the phones right now. Janine, do you have a question or comment you'd like to make concerning this case?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead.
I've played a lot of machines, and when they've had a payout, like an overpayout, it's never gone and kept playing. It's always locked where a floorman had to come and reset it. So to me, you know, it sounds like a big joke and a cover-up. I've lived here 9 years, and I've never seen a machine pay out an extra coin and then just keep playing.
So you're saying this is a cover-up by whom?
Arizona Charlie. Why would they remove the machine? And, you know, they're saying they removed him because they didn't get played that often. Come on.
I think the caller may have misunderstood what I said. The coin blocking the meter reader caused the machine to lock up. It wasn't played after the coin. And that was a malfunction. It stopped the play. And that was a malfunction that caused the reels to lock and start slowly spinning backward, the candle to flash, which the Pepitone interpreted to mean that they had won, and which anyone else looking at it would have interpreted as a malfunction on the machine.
Okay. All right. Tracy, your question.